VMware vSphere Management Assistant 5.1. It's basically 64-bit Linux. We could also take a look at release notes. It explains a little more about what VMA really is and what it allows you to do and what your prerequisites are. We're going to install it as a pre-cooked appliance, right? So that's the downloads, which I mentioned I downloaded right before in this video here. We've got the appliance itself. So let's get started. Got the vSphere client. I'm going to log right into the ESXi host. I've actually never logged into this particular host. I just installed a fresh copy of ESXi 5.1. So licensing and all that, you're going to see 60 days left on the bottom. This video is not intended to be about licensing. You'll have to deal with that separately, but it is to show you that you can try this and convince yourself it works. We're ready to get started with deploying an appliance. So deploying an appliance, how do you do it? We don't really need to read the README to do that. We download the zip file from VMware. I'm going to go ahead and extract it. Okay, I happen to be on Windows 8. This is how an extraction looks. It's pretty large. See the VMDK file that's happening right now? It's pre-cooked Linux. We have very little work to do to get this thing running, as you'll see. I'm a little rusty though. It's been about 4 months since I had this thing running. Okay, so we're done with the zip file, and we now go in the folder, and there's the files. So how do we get them into ESXi? File, deploy OVF template. I'm going to paste this in and then click on browse. So my whole path is pasted in, right? Click browse, and that didn't really work. Okay, there we go. OVF file. So now it's ready to do its magic. Click next, and we'll see we got a thin provision 1.5 gig, a thick provision 3 gig. Okay. I'm going to have a data store problem, I'm realizing, so I'll have to deal with that in a moment. Click accept. Okay, so we have some existing data stores. I want this to go pretty fast, but I need to make sure I have plenty of space. Okay, the Samsung SSD has enough room, 31 gig. I'm going to thin provision. I don't want to take more space than is really needed. And go ahead and power on after deploying and finish. So here it goes. So now, this is something I really like about Windows 8. Live look at Task Manager will reveal exactly what is going on here. So if we look here, look at the Ethernet, we'll see the transfer rate we're actually getting in real time, which is just really nice. So 2 megabits is how it's the speed we're getting as it pushes over to the ESXi host. And it's already halfway done. Brief spikes, a little faster. Okay, we can get that task manager out of the way now. And we'll just watch. It's going to do its thing. So at the bottom, you'll see status. Right here, it's saying 78% done. Start time and stop time. So this will give you some idea in your lab how long it takes to deploy this appliance on a solid-state drive. This is a SATA 3 interface, 6 gig per second drive interface, so it's pretty fast. And it's completed successfully. So that means if we head on over to the VM view and click on console, we should see it powering on. And there it goes. Okay. So I'm going to go to my command prompt. Again, I'm doing this live in front of you. Basically, you're electronically looking over my shoulder, and that means it'll be a little bumpy. It's not perfect. It's not rehearsed. but that's okay. So I had a VMA appliance, and I've actually hacked my host file. My local machine has a host file, and we'll have a look here at what IP address that's supposed to be. So my VMA server was known as IP address 10.10.1.61 in my lab. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up. Hostname, let's see, let's start down the list. Show current. Okay, why not? Okay. How about item 2? Default gateway. Let's configure one. Oh, choose interface to associate with default gateway. That interface. Okay, and then type it in. Okay, that's done. Next, hostname. Next, DNS. Okay. Actually, Google DNS or your gateway. Either way, we'll pick whatever DNS you want. For your lab, proxy, no. But IP address, yeah, I want a hardcode one. Whoops, configure for each 0, yes. Gotta read carefully, slow down. Use DHCP v6. Sure. So not the prettiest interface for initially setting it up. But the idea here is this should be a one-time deal. Okay. VMA is done. It's simple here, 10, 10, 161. So you'll notice the virtual machine does respond to ping. I'm pinging it by name, so my host file is tweaked appropriately, but there's no web interface by default. Perhaps. Let me see if with an S it works. I don't really remember. Again, I barely used it for a few hours. Okay, so we have no web interface for that. So it's all firewalled off. That's fine. How about puttying over to it? So I typed in putty, VMA, network connection refused. All right, so that doesn't work either. So it looks like until this next reboot, nothing really happens, perhaps. So let's try exit this program. So I've clicked here with my mouse again. I'm going to hit option 1. And now it's asking for password config. If you're prompted for an old password for this user, press enter. Okay, I'm going to push enter. There we go. It's annoying. It's coming back to me now. There was a tweak so that this password doesn't have to be super crazy tough to remember. Okay, I messed up again. I typed in the old password, and I should have just hit enter on it as prompted. So let's try again. Hit enter for old password. Type in a new one. There we go. So this is my very first time using version 5.1 of this. Last time I was on 5.0. I don't really remember this part very well, or this countdown really, but let's see what happens next on this very first boot, which will hopefully end up being successful. Okay, so it's looking for a DHCP v6, and it's not going to find one. Yeah, it's an annoyance, but okay, it blew past it. Good. SSL, that hints it's doing something. That'll let me get in and authenticate. I'll just point out I have no other workload going. No other VMs are running. So it's a Core i7, 32 gig of RAM, basically idle during this configuration you're watching. Now we're talking. So it gives me the usual visual prompt. Let me just better my chance of success. I'll try with Internet Explorer first. Why not? That's where help actually works for VMware products still. So give that a shot. Yes. Okay. I called it VMA, so it should work. It's looking good. To put that in the clipboard, we'll try it in Chrome as well. Nice. That's odd. I think the user's admin, isn't it? Okay, time to read the README. I'm sorry. Also, KB article about it. Initial config. So right here, it tells us the rules for the password, upper and lower. VI admin is the user. Okay, so there's our answer. Dang. So maybe we're up to too many tries for that particular attempt. Browser started fresh again. Oh boy. All right, how about a different browser, like Chrome? So that was a bit aggravating. Bottom right corner says powered by VMware Studio. So that's what was used to build this appliance. 64-bit Linux appliance. And we're in. All right, well, I liked Chrome. So that was a little bit aggravating. Sorry about that, but kind of stuff you'll probably run into when you try to set this up yourself as well. Now, I did read that this thing does automatic NTP time syncing with the ESXi host. So if your ESXi host is set to the right date and time, you shouldn't have to worry about that. That's one less thing to deal with on here. Nice. Okay, so we're in. So we can do automatic updates and so forth. Cool. Since we just downloaded it, we don't really expect any new updates to be found. But this is a good way to actually test that DNS is working. And I've seen this mean not a whole lot in the past. It just means the file doesn't exist on a server that it was expecting. But when a new version comes up, we could suspect that this will start working. All right, anything else I need to change? So we only have 6 tabs to deal with in VMA, and I really want to focus and stay focused on getting USB support going. But at a minimum, you do want to at least set your time zone. Close enough. Okay, time zone set. Okay, when I'm done setting up a VM like this, I want to be comfortable I can get back in and things are working. So what are our options? I didn't actually see a reboot button in there. Let's have a look over here. What's the console look like locally? There we go. Configure network, set time zone. So whatever interface you use, there's a reboot button. Okay, so in the information tab, a little bit strange, click on reboot, and there goes the VM. Should be able to minimize that now. Have a look back here, and shortly you're going to see it restarting. There it goes. Look at the summary tab. Tools running. So it came with tools, right? Pre-built appliance, minimal work. Basically, we just had to set up the network. And I'm going to actually shut it down. The reason I shut it down before it rebooted is we now have a little bit more tweaking to do. Based on my vague memory of 5.0, let's see if 5.1, what version of hardware it has, VMware version 7. That's a problem. It's wide compatibility with old versions of ESXi, but I need USB support. So let's fix it. So if I right-click, I want to get a nice screenshot here. So right-click on that and say Upgrade Virtual Hardware. It's saying this is a one-way street. I say yes. And you'll see this number 7 changed to version 9. Awesome. Next, click Edit Settings and add a USB controller. And we can leave that alone. It's USB 2.0. And click Finish. And OK. Great. Bring up the console and go ahead and power that up again. So again, the reasons, actually no, there's more. We can attach the USB cable, virtually now, or we can do it after the VM is up. I don't think it matters. I'm going to go ahead and power up the VM, which now has USB support. And let's see if Kudzu or something shows on SUSE to indicate it just found some new stuff. I don't know if it will. We'll see. So let's watch it. We're going to get the DHCP6 timeout stuff again. So while that's coming up, maybe we go back and read that README, which saved my skin earlier. We can use that later to re-log in. Again, sorry, bring up the README. That one didn't work out. This one did. Sorry, I'm just trying to eliminate a bunch of Chrome windows. Okay, we're down to 2 Chrome windows now. Ooh, what was that? Failed. Okay, yep. So we have an issue. So there's my first stumbling block. I upgraded my virtual hardware, but I also hosed my Ethernet recognition. So it looked here like it found an Intel NIC, and this would have assigned it that IP. But I guess all those complaints are just about IPv6, so maybe we don't no reason to worry. All right, it finished. Try out good old ping. Yeah, we're fine. All right. Bring up the browser, make sure it's responding here. If it logs in, I'm comfortable moving forward with using PuTTY. Actually, WinSCP would be a nice, easy way to move files into it. And we'll need some instructions. So let me get those instructions. Yes, we had success. We're up. Obviously, the virtual machine is up. We're able to get in. Our time zone settings stuck. It's still there. Update tab still goofy. But we're not going to worry about that until a new version comes out. If it doesn't sniff a new version then I worry. Okay. This just came out very recently, actually. We can minimize that. So we're done fiddling with the user interface of the VMA. It's up.